So we have the news completely ready, and then Blizzard went and did something completely unheard of. Are you sitting down? I hope you are, because this is wild. Blizzard have basically designated July as the month of farming, where from the 1st to the 29th, the Collector's Bounty buff is going to be up. And here's what that means. Legendaries, mounts, and transmog loot from pre-Dragonflight content will have massively boosted drop chances. We're basically talking here 10 times the normal rate, and in one case, it's 25x. A 25x drop rate increase. That's kind of wild, so if there's been any mount that's been eluding you, now is basically your chance. And that's not even it, because today's news is absolutely stacked. Have you ever tried, on top of spinning all of your normal plates, also figuring out web hosting? It's not fun to do that all at once. Between your server config, security patches, performance optimization, it's just a technical nightmare. And that is where today's sponsor, Kinsta, comes in, because they handle all that complexity so that you don't have to. And they are built for businesses where websites actually matter, where your performance matters, your security matters. G2 ranked them #1 in WordPress hosting out of 350 providers. They've got over 120,000 businesses trusting them, and the performance they get is legit. Sites run up to 200% faster on Google Cloud's premium network, which is spread across 37 data centers. But here's the bit where you get the peace of mind, right? So say things break, it's 3 a.m., it's going to be hell. Well, what you get with them is actual WordPress experts, humans responding in minutes, not just being stuck with chatbots and a big tech problem. Now, also, they've got SOC 2 enterprise level security with isolated containers, so you're never vulnerable to a shared server breach, plus so many more features like edge caching and DDoS protection that actually works. And best of all, you see the whole migration. They actually handle it for you, so there's zero technical knowledge required. And to get started, simply visit Kinsta using my link down below or just scanning the QR code that's on your screen. You'll get your first month free and a 30-day money-back guarantee. Blizzard almost buried this news under the returning Diablo event, where the headline just says, "Stop greedy goblins and get diabolical goodies." Now, yes, that does mean that the returning goblin farming event is, there, and there's actually pretty good news for it. It's got upgrades on both its rewards and actual gameplay. The portals now chain spawn, my god, and they also bring in new and improved treasure goblins. Rewards-wise, you'll also be able to get a new recolored class set. But here's the real thing that they buried underneath all of that, the Collector's Bounty. So the way this is going to work is that every rare item a collector may want from before Dragonflight will have 10 times the regular drop rate. So we're talking mounts, rare items like, say, the Tusks of Manaroth, Xavius' Shoulder, all drop legendaries, all of them. So if you want the Warglaives to get ready for Illidan's probable return and maybe that new Demon Hunter Void spec, then, next month is your literal best shot ever. Now, we don't have complete details of this yet. There may well be some weird asterisks, but Blizzard's communication is, at the very least, quite clear-cut here. They want you back, and they want you farming. Though, a quick note, this does not include pets and toys. It doesn't include anything from time walking. And as for the 25x boost I teased you with, I mean, it does exist. Blizzard says there's an item which will have a 25x drop rate. They just haven't really said which. Okay, so that's that. There's so much more. So speaking of changes and things, well, Xbox has been looking for every chance to get WoW on more devices, and I think they've just made a big move. For a while now, WoW's true masters at Xbox have been trying something. They basically want you to game on every device that you own, even your smart TV. And just recently, a part of this is they announced a partnership with Asus, where they're making the ROG Ally Xbox Edition. Basically, imagine a Steam Deck, but with a full Xbox experience that runs on a customized version of Windows that should be more performant. Now, what that does mean is full Battle.net support right out of the bat, which means World of Warcraft amongst a whole bunch of other games. Now, I am getting to a new thing in patch 11.2 that I think is connected to all of this, because WoW doesn't really support much out of the box other than playing in PC. It's designed for PC or maybe laptop, but not a tiny handheld and not a big TV across the room. But that is starting to change, and I'm not talking about just controller support. No, it's a new option in 11.2, which lets you change text size across the entire game. So in an ideal world, that'll just work. You won't have to manually tweak using lots of different add-ons and things. That means it's perfect for playing on a giant TV, or of course playing on a handheld. At least in theory anyway. The option is sitting there in the game, but it just doesn't do much right now. So this could just be an accessibility feature, but even so, we are inching towards something big. Basically a World of Warcraft that you can play wherever you want, without having to download loads of add-ons, without having hours of fiddling. So at this rate, I really wouldn't be surprised if Midnight's Alpha shows up with controller support. I mean, controller support is already in the game. It is a thing that you can use, but it's there as an accessibility option, not really a intended way to play game feature. So I wouldn't be surprised if Midnight advances all of this, drops some sort of controller-friendly UI, and, well, Xbox get more users. And, well, speaking of Midnight, we're not going to have to wait long to find out. We pretty much knew it was coming, but now it's confirmed. Midnight will be revealed at Gamescom. Blizzard are going to have a heavy presence there, basically the full 5 days. And that includes lots of on-the-ground stuff like developer meet and greets and fan events. But the thing that matters the most for us is August 19th, because that's the big reveal day. It's also Gamescom Opening Night Live, which is the huge industry show where Xbox gets some stage time. So I've got to imagine they'll be giving WoW some spotlight there. And basically, here's what I'm thinking. A cinematic reveal there, so that basically we learn whatever event kicks off the expansion. I think that'll be on the 19th for the whole world to see. And then maybe we'll get a Warcraft Direct or something like that the day after, so that basically people get hyped, and then the next day they get details. And whatever they follow up with will be showing systems and any big reveal things. We'd also, of course, then get a wave of panels, interviews, things like that. So again, that's good for smaller details, developer commentary, often a lot of tidbits that actually us more dedicated people really go mad for. And if you're feeling a bit out of the loop, here's essentially what I expect we'll find out. So of course, there's all the story stuff, and that's important because at that point, we will know how patch 11.2 ends, so we'll be perfectly teed up for whatever thing they decide to show us. That'll probably be our brand new, Cult of Last and Silvermoon areas in action, maybe a revamped Lordaeron, that's not really been confirmed, maybe they'll do something, but we do have a video coming along on how likely or unlikely that may be, so keep an eye out. We'll also learn about class stuff, will we get a new one, what's up with the whole Void Demon Hunter thing. For the rest of us though, there are hero talents. We don't know if those will be added to, or perhaps the Blizzard will rework them, or, I don't know, do something even crazier. Now, I don't expect that we will get a release date. That's because the War Within's release date was actually kept secret until 2 months before the launch, but what I do think we'll get is an alpha window. And along with that, probably something about when we'll get hands-on with player housing, because we do know that that is going to be happening before Midnight officially launches. And of course, it's actually not just Midnight. Blizzard's announcement mentions a few additional surprises. I think it may be a little early for a full reveal of Classic Plus, but it's modern Blizzard, they do seem to be shipping a lot, so it could be kind of anything. So, as a wise man called VJ Emmy once said, expect the unexpectable, including player housing items in patch 11.2. Yeah, I'm actually not bullshitting you. Player housing is the thing that I think most people are looking forward to for rewards, and I guess the kicker is, it is coming before Midnight actually launches. This is minor, but it's fairly cool. We're actually so close to player housing being a thing that the items are showing up in the game files. Not some obscure thing like in the game files of patch 11.2. Wowhead have found the first 25 items through data mining, which means we can just go and, sift through them to see what we're going to be getting. Now, this is clearly just a random selection. There's minor items like chairs, tables, and chests. They're from different races, different styles, which does also suggest something exciting, that the system will launch with loads of different options, because even with these 25 items, there's quite a lot of variety. So, plenty to farm for, plenty to get creative with, but of course, before you can decorate your house, you need to see what you're doing. And that brings me to something that I'm weirdly excited about. You've played World of Warcraft, you've struggled to find where your mouse cursor is in World of Warcraft. Have you ever seen World of Warcraft? This may be a little bit weird, but to me, one of the most exciting things is looking through a new patch and finding some tech improvements. And patch 11.2 is delivering something the game is sorely needed, and that is improvements to the spell density system. Now, yes, spell density already exists as a setting, but it just doesn't work the way that it really should have. And you might not know this, but it used to be purely performance-based. So whenever you had set it, the game would reduce your spell effects if you were dropping frames. But now they're changing it to be more customizable. And that means that in patch 11.2, you're going to be able to set your spell density to reduced or essential. And when you do, it will reduce or hide spell effects that you don't need to see. So think about it. If you're tired of doing a 20-man raid, and you can't see anything except just effects vomit, maybe you need one of those weak auras, like say the one that I use, that really makes it clear wherever your mouse cursor is. Well, with less visual noise through something like this, you may not actually need those tools and workarounds. So here's how it works so far. It only reduces your allies' spell effects. It never reduces yours, never a boss's, and never an enemy's in PvP. So if you want a clean screen with just maximum visibility on the mechanics that will matter, well, whenever the patch drops, go into settings and change this over to the essential setting. And if Blizzard do their job right, and feedback is listened to, it should be a really good addition to the game. And what's nice is that versus most waits, this one is actually pretty good because there's loads happening in the game. Alright, so if you're out of the loop or you're just waiting for 11.2, don't worry, I'm just going to cover everything that's going on. Okay, here's your reminder of things to do, like even this week, right now. First, log in to the Turbulent Timeways event. The Chrono Corsair is your reward, and for that you need at least 4 time-walking dungeons a week for the next 3 weeks. But there's actually a neat trick to this. If you do 4 dungeons one week, and then log out on that character, then the buff that actually tracks all of this will just stay on your character. It'll be frozen whenever you're logged out. So basically, then all you need to do is log in the next week, when you've still got the buff up, and then you just do 1 dungeon, which will refresh the buff. And if you don't want to play that all for the rest of the week, that's completely fine. Just leave it logged out, and then the next week after that, well, go and use it again. So essentially, with a little bit of setup and about 20 minutes a week, you'll get yourself this pretty cool looking pirate dragon. My final note then is just on gear, because my god, you can get so much of it easily, which, could devalue it, but if you just want to get a bunch of alts ready, there's a lot of reasons to get alts. I mean, there's spec reworks that are happening in the next patch that actually look pretty damn good. Well, with all of this time walking stuff, by doing just 5 quests, you will get yourself a piece of heroic gear, so that's for the duration of the Timeways event. And also, remember, by now you've got tons of catalyst charges, so any of your new alts will just have a shitload of tier gear pretty much immediately. And horrific visions, which are also a great source of gear, are kind of an easy mode now that you can get Gift of the Titans. And then the raid renown is actually so far along that you just catch up really, really quick. As for what I'll be doing in the game, well, pretty simple. You'll find me in Tempest Keep, hopefully, to get Ashes of Alar. Now, you've probably seen all of the buzz about the rotation assistant and how it can be extremely powerful. Well, we've dove into that, and you can check the video out by clicking the button that's about to replace my face.